This morning on the Sunday Footy Show, shades of 2016 as a late Isaac Smith behind fails to sink the Cats. Geelong led to victory by Patrick Dangerfield's monster 5-goal performance. Cats utility Mark Blitzarves is live. The Swans claim back bragging rights in the Harbour City with their 6th straight win, launching them into 5th place on the AFL ladder. We're joined by Tom Papley, fresh from a 3-goal haul. The Dons keep in touch with the top 8 after a vital win against the Saints on the Friday night stage. Brendan Goddard is our guest panellist. The Crows take revenge on the D's up in Darwin. Adelaide captain Tex Walker is live after his best on-ground performance. Look out, Kane. Plus, pressure released on Bucks as the Pies get one on the board against the Suns. And the Power dominate a woeful ruse in Adelaide. So gather round, because even Billy's back. It's time for the almighty, the all-conquering Sunday Footy Show.
TJ.
Yes, very good morning and welcome to the Sunday Footy Show. Very much looking forward to the next 90 minutes. This is going to be a cracker of a show. Something for everyone, I suspect. Look who's back, Billy Brownless, after his week off.
Hey, it's great to be back with you, my
Where'd
friend.
you go?
Noosa, rain for 3 days. Couldn't get out of the surf club.
Well, it's got a roof, which is one thing for you. A bit like yourself. Nathan Brown's here.
TJ.
He never gets time off, do you?
No, not at all, TJ.
Just
Work
beavering away.
through, yes. Good to be here, though. Good footy over the weekend, too.
Oh, it's not over yet either. Damien Barrett's here. Damien's got the dirt on just a few things happening in football at the moment. How do you reckon the AFL handled themselves over the week?
It hasn't been a good week. It hasn't been a good 2 weeks for them, actually, but we'll touch on that pretty soon, I reckon.
All right. Matthew Lloyd. No Matthew Lloyd today, I'm afraid. We'll get to the bottom of that in just a moment. But another Essendon star is replacing him in Brendan Goddard. How are you, BJ?
TJ, yeah, very well off a good win, so happy to be here.
Yeah, no, that's great. And the first thing I noticed when he arrived today, he has his initials embroidered on his cuffs. Why would you do that?
Fashion guru, he is.
You forget who you are?
Yes, in case I lose my shirt.
Okay, right.
Very
well,
careful
if you
not
follow
to put
his
the
bets,
pretzels
mate, you
out
will. And, of course, Kane Corns is here, and I'm especially looking forward to the show because of this guy.
Settle another dispute. It was Hardwick last week, hopefully Taylor Walker today, and maybe lucky he's not going to be in the studio, but good of him to come on.
You're going to knock him out, eh?
Well, I tell you what, we're looking
No, he's going
forward
to knock me out.
We're looking forward to it because they have had a bit of a verbal brouhaha, and I'm not entirely sure whether Tex Walker wanted to come on. In fact, I'll put it on the table now.
Yeah.
He did have second thoughts about coming on.
Tried to get out of it.
It's going to be Orcs.
Doesn't surprise me.
You look a bit
Do that
worried.
again.
No, I'm
You look a bit
okay.
worried. All right, let's talk about the results so far for round 17. Essendon, as BJ said, big winners over St Kilda. That's the only reason he's here. Geelong, 3 points on a thriller over
Sucked in,
Hawthorn.
Murph.
That was absolutely fantastic. Billy, you'll have another week off. North Melbourne, 70-point losers to Port Adelaide. They have got problems at North Melbourne. Damien Barrett to look at that in detail shortly. Collingwood back on the winners list. The pressure easing, as I said in the intro, for Nathan Buckley. The Swans in a 13-point ripper win. They just keep on keeping on the Swannies over the Giants. And Adelaide, big winners over Melbourne.
The ladder, have a look at the two Adelaide sides in the top 4, Geelong and GWS. Look at Sydney coming where they are at the moment. They might make top 4. Then you've got the Tigers to play today. The Saints were disappointing the other night. The bottom end of the ladder, Essendon are surging. BJ will tell us all about that. West Coast and Western Bulldogs, big games today. And obviously the Brisbane Lions down the bottom. North Melbourne just having a pretty ordinary patch at the moment. All
right, let's talk about this game at the MCG yesterday. This was just everything you'd expect from a Geelong-Hawthorn game, but we didn't expect this.
Without a doubt, TJ. Luke Hodge, the man of the moment, kicks this massive goal. Then you need a clearance. You've only got 13 seconds to do it. Tom Mitchell, outstanding. Gets the ball forward. Gunston playing in front like a good forward should. And now he's got the patience to get the ball to Isaac Smith. And, Isaac.
Gee.
So the question is, does he hold? Does he stop? Does he go back over the mark? I reckon what he thought there on that occasion was that the umpire was going to pay 15 metres. So he just kept rolling onto it and unfortunately missed it.
What would have you done?
I'm probably not one to ask when the game's in the balance in the dying seconds.
But I have asked. So
yes. In hindsight, I think he's got the kick away with reasonable time, so he hasn't put himself under too much pressure. So there's probably a seed of doubt too whether he could make the distance from there. I know he kicked one going back a few years.
Grand final.
Last, obviously, 5 seconds of the game are fatigued, so he might
He
make
done the right thing. It was momentum. I just think he kept going with the momentum, did the right thing, and unfortunately missed.
Bill, there were fears running through the Geelong camp early in this game when Paddy Dangerfield went down with what is ultimately a bruised foot, but looked a whole lot more serious when he Called for trainer's attention, TJ. Went off the ground, received treatment. No one knew at this stage if he was going to come back on. No one knew at one stage if he was actually going to play again this year. But ultimately, he did, Bill. Or ever again, maybe.
Well, he went down to that tunnel there and he come bouncing out.
Lazarus.
And then look at him, he's back on the ground. One of the great moments ever. He goes forward and started kicking goals, and the Cats fans were in raptures. They hadn't seen a forward like this kicking goals since Ablett and Brownless. But he went forward. Now, he's kicked 5 goals, 6. He's hit the post twice. He led up like he was the only focal point. He said to Tomahawk, you get out of my way, I am the man. Kicked 3 goals in the third quarter and 2 in the second. He was on fire and then probably could have iced it late in the last quarter, hit the post.
Is there anything he can't do, this man?
Well, that's the great thing about him. And I was thinking about other midfields. I suppose Dusty Martin's another one where you can send them forward and they can actually kick goals for you. He can
They have 11 shots at goal.
5 goals,
with
6.
a sore foot.
Extraordinary.
We're talking about Buddy, how good he was last night. He kicked 4-4. This man's kicked 5, 6.
We've never really seen Dangerfield do that before, either go forward. We've seen him kick 4 goals in a game, but go forward and destroy them out of the goal scorer. It was unbelievable.
Kane, your barrel last week was about the lack of tagging with Tom Mitchell. How'd that go?
Lack of attention to Tom Mitchell. Well, they weren't listening. Clearly weren't watching the show, TJ, because he had 19 disposals in the first quarter. Kicked that goal there, went on to have 43. They had to send Blitzarves to him after quarter time. We'll get him on the show and discuss what went on. But Selwood pulled out late, Scott Selwood, so perhaps they had him set for Mitchell. But this man is having an extraordinary season, now starting to hit the scoreboard and get dangerous with his
Averaging
possessions.
something like 37 possessions a game. That's extraordinary.
It's
And kicking
great to
goals.
see him respond to from the criticism he got having a
52
possession game, saying he had no influence and he copped a whack for some reason, unbeknownst to me as a player. But you have to give him credit, bounce back, and he continues to find the
I
footy.
tell you what, we're already getting more out of you than we have Matthew and Ty. This is fantastic.
Don't worry about Mitchell, don't worry about danger. It was all about this man yesterday. Luke Hodge, his 300th game. Respect is a great word to use for this man. There he is with his kids. He goes through the banner. It was a very nice banner too by the Hawthorn Footy Club. And then this is classic Hodge. Look at that, bang! Just a lovely collision there. And then late in the game, he moves forward, kicked the goal, which got him really, really close, and then carried off. And respect here by both clubs, clapping him off the ground. And it was interesting to see Birchall, who I think he was having a couple of pies, frothies upstairs. He just runs down, very good mate of Lukey's, and carried him off. And well done to Luke Hodge. You are a star.
He is, Bill. And the big result last night was the Swans beating GWS just to continue their extraordinary run. No matter what happens from here, TJ, it is already an extraordinary storyline within this season. 0-6, and then they've won 9 of their next 10. The only loss coming against Hawthorn by 6 points in that time frame. And clearly they're in the finals now. They're going to stay there. It's just a matter of now where they finish. And they are as live a premiership hope as any team.
Well, they're genuine top 4, aren't they?
I think so.
What they need to do right now is start managing their players, because they would have played their players all the way through thinking that we need to get back into this season. So the question now gets asked of their fitness department, how do we manage our players best?
Can they afford to, though, Brad?
I reckon they can, because they're 5th. I think they're going to make it. They're good enough to make it the game plan. I think they need to manage some of their players to get the best out of themselves in 10 weeks' time as well.
Just going on the game, Buddy's influence in the last quarter throughout the whole game was outstanding, but his last quarter, having 5 touches, but 4 of them were shots on goal, kicking 2 goals. We see this go out ridiculous from the boundary. And then he's had 10 score involvements, which is an equal high for the game. And then we see here his direct assist. I think he's trying to set up a little 1-2 here. It was a bit too fast for him, but his influence on the game, and we talk about big players standing up, but he was one to really make the difference in the end.
All right, but why are the Sydney Swans back on track, and why are we talking about them as potential grand finalists, if you can believe that, after the first 6 weeks, Nathan?
Well, GWS are about the best side to win the footy at the half-back or in the middle and run all the way down. They've got so many good runners. Have a look at what Sydney did to them yesterday when they did get into a position to run the ball. They just have a look at the massive Sydney players get around this. And I want to point out Mills here. He's very instrumental in the way they set up. He's always at the back of a stop. He's always at the back of a running pattern. So the pressure they put on just didn't allow GWS to run through. They eventually turned this one over. Again at half-back, you've seen GWS time and time again run this one the length of the field. Sydney block them down, stop their run, and then another one out of the middle here. Have a look at this one. This is one where they normally go coast to coast again, but they're able to just slow them down enough. They don't stop them on this occasion. What they're able to do, Mills is here again, push them wide. So now they can get all their numbers back behind the ball. Have a look at this one. When Mills isn't doing it, he's doing it right at the back end. So what they do is they put enormous pressure on. Mills drops off the back to try and figure out where the ball's going.
Numbers, Nath.
Numbers, Bill.
All about numbers. Have a look at this man. We love old mate Stevie J. Classic Stephen Johnson here. Takes the mark. This is all within 2 minutes. Terrible kick, Stephen. Shocking kick. And he wouldn't be happy with that. Then, a minute and a half later, just kicks this unbelievable goal from the boundary line. That is Stevie J in a 2-minute classic patch.
Okay. All right, well, for the Collingwood fans who made the trip up to the Gold Coast for the match against, well, the Gold Coast Suns, atrocious conditions, atrocious. But Nathan Brown, what about the result?
Yeah, they were brilliant in the last quarter, TJ, and the heat's certainly off Nathan Buckley, at least for a couple of days. 22 inside 50s to 7 in this last quarter. Ben Reid, on a night where it was so wet, kicked 3 very important goals. For Solo was really good in the forward. And there's Bucks. You wouldn't know that he's won. He looked a little bit upset, but what an effort it was from the Pies last night, because a lot of people thought the Gold Coast would win that game comfortably.
It was a 6-win last night, Nathan, and I agree, it does take some pressure off. And as always, Nathan Buckley quite reflective post-match.
We've had our challenges over the last couple of weeks to maintain the rage across the 4 quarters, and we were doing that pretty well for the most part through the early part of the year. We just didn't have as many lulls. We were able to maintain that rage for a bit longer tonight. You want to win as many games as you can, and it so happens that when Wellesley's in the side that we tend to win a little bit more. So I think the recruitment of him and the addition of him to our side is sound.
Right, Nathan Buckley, win, lose or draw, always handles himself pretty well in media conferences, game day or not. Has that win eased the pressure on him, though? You say for a couple of days.
A couple of days.
Has it changed anything?
It doesn't change the big picture. I mean, you can't take anything out of a win against Gold Coast in round 17 of your 6th season when your footy club is yet to commit to you. It means absolutely nothing in that big picture.
All right, Eddie Maguire came back from a little mid-year jaunt in the Mediterranean, I think it was, and he was on Fox Footy on Friday night and let loose with a mini rant.
The hysteria this week has been something that has actually quite shocked me and quite appalled me watching from afar. To see this week, Caroline Wilson wrote a story in The Age pushing up Brad Scott. The Herald Sun then ran a story the next day with Ben Buckley, the North Melbourne president, refuting Brad Scott going to Collingwood. And then The Age did another story today saying that Brad Scott scoffed at the idea of going to Collingwood. So we got 3 stories out of a complete tissue of made-up copy in the papers.
Eddie. I mean, seriously, what was all that about? What do you expect? I mean, here's a bloke who made his name as a football reporter doing exactly the sort of stories that everyone's doing now. What is going on?
Not sure there's any hysteria anyway. I mean, how could Eddie observe that from overseas where he was early last week when...
well, we still have internet.
Yeah, but there was no hysteria. It was just media covering it. And Eddie covered these stories as well as any person when he had the full media hat on. I mean, let's not forget, he did go and approach Mick Malthouse to become coach of Collingwood when Mick was still at West Coast. Let's not forget also, too, he dismantled the Nathan Buckley or the Mick Malthouse situation at Collingwood. So... Of course we're going to talk about it when you get to the 17th round of the season in which Nathan Buckley is in his 6th year as coach. Of course it's a story when the club cannot commit to him. We talk about it. We talk about what could happen next. There was no hysteria.
And the mere fact that Eddie did go on that little rant would suggest that there was going to create more headlines as a result of that anyway. Eddie, we love you, but please.
Daniel Wells was pretty good last night, TJ. Hadn't played since round 11. The Pies are 5-2 when this man plays. I know there's been a lot of criticism, and rightly so, about his recruitment. I still think it was the wrong call to select Daniel Wells, but this does ease the pressure, providing he can still go on and play some footy at the back end of the season. 2 years to go. BJ, good call to target Daniel Wells and get him to the footy club.
From Daniel's point of view, great call. Obviously, the talk around it and the criticism is probably the length and the size of the contract. So there's no doubting his talent when he's on the field, because he does make a difference. He's a class player. Whenever he touches the ball, something good happens. But the talk around was just about the length of it. But from Daniel's point of view, touche.
But Kane, the fact he wasn't there is something that North Melbourne almost predicted. That the fact that he would go missing when this footy club needed him to absolutely stand up.
Yeah, no, it's been the wrong call to get Daniel Wells. They're not going to play finals. The Magpies, they clearly thought they were in that window to do so, and Wells would help if you're going to play a final series.
Is it a better call if it was on a smaller contract and a smaller term?
100%. 2 years to go.
Should we wait for the contract to be
Well,
finished?
we should, Bill, but he's not going to get any younger. And traditionally, with those calf injuries, they get worse as you get older.
All right, what about about that result for Rodney Eade. Did it matter, or is his fate been sealed long before last night?
Yeah, I feel the latter. Again, when you get to the round 17 point of a season in which he's also, as we know, out of contract, he's only into his third year, but there's been no messaging coming out of that footy club that he's going to be there in 2018.
All right, don't forget later on in the show, football's greatest rivalry, the newest rivalry, Tex Walker and Kane Walker. We don't know how it's going to go. We were serious
Did you just
before.
call me Kane Walker?
Kane
Don't
Walker.
call me Kane Walker.
There you go. Well, I was just thinking of the headline, the billing, see, like Kane Walker. It's got a better ring than Kane Corns, I would say. But anyway, that is coming up a little later on. It is going to be on for Young and Old, potentially. He did want to pull out, the big man, Tex, I've got to say. He did want to pull out, but of course he wants to talk about the win last night.
Oh, yeah, he surely does. And they were very good, the Crows. Their ball movement is as good as any side in the competition. This is just a snippet of what they were able to do to Melbourne, who set up with a zoning defence, but they just cut through with ease. I thought Tom Lynch coming back into the side, he's about to mark this one inside 50, was really important. And also Charlie Cameron, Eddie Betts. We know how potent their forward line is, but they're sitting on top of the ladder, and rightly so. Big challenge taking on Geelong this week, who have the wood over the Crows. They've won the last 4 of the Cats. Friday night's going to be massive.
Yeah,
Damo.
you've pumped that up well.
No, it is. It's a huge
Hey,
game, Damien.
Bernie Vinceville
Yes.
regularly
What are we on
pushes
delay here
the
on the
line.
panel, are we?
Regularly pushes the line. I want you to get your take and the panel's take on these two incidents with him last night. I reckon he's okay with one of them, and I reckon this is the one he's okay with. I mean, I know it will be looked at by the match review, but I reckon he might get Douglas here, Brownie, more so shoulder than head. But this is the one off the ball we're about to see with Charlie Cameron.
See the other angle of it, this one?
I think is a little bit going to be
Eddie Betts.
problematic for him.
Yeah, he might be in trouble. I think still the head over the ball one, they will look at it and they'll judge it on that. He did have his head over the foot. There's no other angle to that one, so you can't, because obviously the game was in Darwin, you can't see exactly where he got him.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. All right then. Well done now, Jaden Hunt. Have a look at this. We love the torpedo. It's gone. No one kicks them anymore,
No
do
barrels.
they?
No.
Have
Not
a
even
look at this
fullback.
on the three-quarter time siren. This is outside 50. This is Malcolm Blight-ish. That is magnificent in the dark skylight. Straight through the middle. And we love seeing that. We love him, don't we? He's on the Sunday Footy Show. He's a bit different. He's got long fingers. But he is a very, very good
Well,
player.
long fingers, long kicks, it's all there. Look, that was one of the highlights, but there was also a few lowlights.
With Rory Sloane, TJ,
Yeah.
with the concussion that he received, and clearly didn't want to go off the ground, it required Tex Walker and Eddie Betts to remind him that he needed to go off
bang.
because the medicos who treated him after this tackle, and there's no issue with that, there's no sling motion on that, that is just one of those unfortunate happenings on a footy field, so no magic.
What happened here? He didn't want to go
Didn't want to go off, and the medicos were just not getting through to him, and he wasn't going off. It required the captain, Kane's man, Tex Walker, to come over and just tell him, hey, you've got medical requirements here, get off, as Eddie Betts is
I
also
think
doing.
Tex went up to him and he knew it wasn't Rory Sloane. I think he'll say. He might be quoted saying that.
But he wasn't the only one who was a little confused.
Well, exactly. Very good segue. Thank you.
I was just trying to eradicate that 10 seconds of dead air.
Clayton Oliver here, Clarence. Have a look at this. He actually kicks it the wrong way, and it's nearly a goal assist. Look at this. Kicks it the wrong way. Adelaide Crows are in front. They could not believe it. Richard Douglas here runs onto it. He actually runs too far. So it wasn't called a goal, but that is unbelievable. Kicking the wrong way. You done that?
It reminds me of the first round of 2007 season. The whole pre-season were built up. Carlton, Richmond, 85,000 people, and our skipper, Kane Johnson, kicks it 80 metres the wrong way. We ended up on the bottom, I think, this year. It was a poor start and it went downhill from
Where
one
did you?
in the stands.
All the teams kicked it backwards now anyway, so it doesn't matter. He was ahead
Also
of his
reminded
time.
me of this and David Roden doing some good things in goals at the moment. But have a look at this goal that he kicks, D-Rod. Nice right foot snap.
Great goal.
D-Rod, you're going the wrong way.
him the celebration.
Brad Johnson goes and tells him, what are you doing, D-Rod? He's a good man.
Speaking of Port Adelaide, they absolutely thumped North Melbourne yesterday. You know, earlier in the season we were talking about North Melbourne, how they were having these honourable losses, if you like, and they were sort of in the games, but not now.
Not happening now. This was a really bad one. It was a 70-point loss, and I reckon there might be a few more of these type of losses, TJ, to come before this year is out.
Port were very dominant. They're led by their midfield. We talk about it within teams, within clubs saying the game's won or lost in the midfield, but Port Adelaide were really dominant in that area yesterday.
All right, what is wrong through your eyes, Kane?
Well, they've checked out, TJ. They've been competitive all year. They've had some close losses, but this was what was highlighted yesterday. 22 marks inside 50 Port Adelaide took. The lack of effort, the lack of defensive pressure from North Melbourne was a real concern. and I reckon some of the North players are looking for their holidays. Let's roll the vision as we look at this. Look at this. This is the first quarter. This is 8 minutes to go in the first quarter, and that is Sam Gray just over the back for an easy one. This happened time and time again. Another mark inside 50, top of the goal square. How that can happen in modern AFL footy. Jared Polak runs into the open space there. Why is that not being guarded by the North Melbourne defenders? We'll look at this again. Charlie Dixon gets this one, chips it over Sam Powell-Pepper, who kicked a couple yesterday. He waltzes in. Charlie Dixon, set shot, slow play, Justin Westhoff. No one anywhere near him. Westhoff goes back and slots this. This, if I was Brad Scott, would be a real concern. 22 of them. It happened time and time again. Paddy Ryder all alone inside 50. Could have shown you more and more. Another one here to Sam Gray, who just chips it over again. Ollie Wines goes back and kicks that one. And a couple more as we leave you. I think I'm making my point, Sam Gray all alone. But North Melbourne, no effort there whatsoever yesterday, and it's a real concern.
And the strong point you did make there, Kane, they've checked out. It goes back to round 11 last year, TJ, when they were 10-1 in the 2016 season, and then beyond that point, you can see that the wins and losses are very lopsided, and there's been some sizable beltings amongst them. Probably not as many as I think the club feared at some point.
Where did you think they were going to finish up this year after getting rid of the 5 greats from last year?
Oh, look, probably a little bit better than what they're doing. I mean, they're trying to put a positive spin on this, that these close losses are okay.
But they're getting games into kids.
Yeah,
they're
but
going to get a very good...
Bill, are the kids any good?
Well, I think they are. I think they've found it.
Name 3 or 4 of them who you think are going to be there for 12 years.
Well, 12
But I think
years.
the thing is, we have this conversation every year about how they're emerging, but they never seem to deliver, do they?
I think there's some real issues there.
But they've got to get a big fish too, don't they?
Why would a big fish go there?
Money?
Yeah, but he's going to then place himself in his team that's going to be down the bottom, you'd think, for some time.
I want to take a look at their captain, Jack Zeeble, also. And I think he needs to come under some scrutiny, because if this was Trent Cotchin or if this was Joel Sell, would be looking at his form. Just 5 first-half disposals yesterday. He's only kicked the 7 goals for the year, just had no influence whatsoever. And when he does get the footy, his inability to use it, like we've seen Jack do for a number of years, is just not there. We've seen another turnover there. Perhaps there's an injury concern there, I'm not sure, but he needs to have a look at his performance.
All right, now BJ has been champing at the bit here. He just wants to talk about Friday night's game.
Chomping.
No, it's actually champing at the bit, BJ.
Chomp!
Very comfortable, mate.
You're very comfortable, right? Sorry, mate. I mean, I know there's no bowls of pretzels around here, so feel free to take it out on me. But anyway, now tell us about Essendon's win over St Kilda.
They were exciting the other night, the Bombers. From the first minute, I thought they were on. They were electric. They just ran the footy really well. They put St Kilda under enormous pressure. And it's exciting footy. I just can't... Then I ask you, BJ, I don't see where the Brisbane loss came from, 27 points up, because you probably should have beaten Sydney, then the Brisbane game, then this game, and you'd be pushing top 4 at the moment.
Yes, well, if we had our time again, mate, would be different. But I think they're really good learning curves for us too. There is a large core group of players that are pretty inexperienced, so we put that down to a bit of a learning pit, and there's going to be ebbs and flows as we go up. But I think overall, our performances and particularly our culture around the footy club is on the upward scale.
Yeah, when you're coming up as a young kid, you always want to be on a poster or a footy card. And Jake Carlisle was doing his really good job. BJ wanted me to bring this up, the fact that he is going to be on a couple of posters. So he's on this one from Joe Danaher, which is just about Mark of the Year, up with Jeremy Howe. And roll back, have a look at this one. He's already made the poster, and now he's got a second one on his books.
Did you want to bring that up, BJ?
I did not. It does make a good step ladder though, Jack. He's a big man with wide shoulders.
Yes.
All right, now this is the part we really like, mate. I know you've already got one away at my expense, but what caught my eye? You want to kick us off, William?
Yes, Tone, we love a bit of banter between umpire and player. Have a listen to this, Razor.
Oh! Luke, the mark's here. I need you to get your hands up at the football, mate.
Oh.
You seen how high you can jump? Good call, buddy.
Good call, buddy. Well done, Razor.
Young Josh Battle made his debut the other night, and it was overshadowed, I thought, really poorly by one Matthew Lloyd. He's a young man. He's still at school, still at year 12. This is his moment. This is all about you, young fella. And all I hear about is I, me, I'm Matthew Lloyd, I did this, I did that. Have a look before the game. Josh Battle's trying to push him away, saying, this is my moment, Lorna.
Well, that's why he's not here this morning. He's actually just made him breakfast in bed. He's polishing his boots next, and then I think he's driving driving him to wherever he wants to go.
It was good to see the Prime Minister at the footy yesterday with Gold Coast Chairman Tony Cochrane just enjoying the AFL action. Now,
nice.
we had a special investigation, Bill. We had a listening device placed inside that conversation, and this is what the Prime Minister had to say to Tony Cochrane yesterday.
I have to confess I support in Australian rules the Roosters.
Bring your own audio.
Bit of audio.
Bring your own audio.
Big AFL fan, the Prime Minister.
Oh, look out, Laurie Oakes. Kane's in town.
Something-
Turnbull and Tex Walker now.
Yeah.
Something,
You got one.
something that caught my eye was Basil Zempus and his puns, his cheesy old man puns.
Right, okay. You got some examples?
We do have some examples.
Eddie's got fans everywhere he goes. And now Oliver, the Oliver twist. There's Knight leading the life of Riley tonight. Good tackle, Kent. Changed into Superman in the blink of an eye through the hands of Frost. Frost by name, Frost by nature at the moment. 38 points the margin. Not so goody.
Oh, no.
Basil, come on. That is not punny.
That's not punny. Hey, DJ, I like it.
I can't believe you went with that joke that TJ gave you too.
Damn it.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. Now, I just want to finish up. This caught my eye. I had a spare 5 minutes upstairs through the week, and I thought, I might just go back through and see some of the old stories we've done on Nathan Brown. Anyway, so in the search engine, I put in underachiever, and up he came, right? So, and there was this particular media conference from 2004 with the Tigers.
We've aimed to win the Wizard Cup, so we're looking forward to doing that hopefully and going a long way in the Wizard Cup and setting ourselves up for a really good season. We've got a really good side there if everyone's on the track, and we've got a side that should make the finals, so if we don't, I guess we're leaving ourselves short.
Where'd you finish that year?
On the bottom.
Wooden spooners.
Yep.
Wooden spooners.
Yep.
Just keeping a lid on it down there at the time.
Where are you going with this?
Well, where were you going? Nowhere, quite clearly. All right, we'll take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. That was part one of Nathan Brown underachieving. Part two next week. Stay with us. You're watching the Sunday Footy Show. Hope you're enjoying yourself. You would be if you're a Sydney Swans supporter. They were terrific again last night, Nathan, weren't they?
They were outstanding. 9 of the last 10. Franklin was terrific, 4 goals for. Pupley was fantastic. Zach Jones has been outstanding off half-back. Josh Kelly was good again. Callum Ward was probably the Giants' best, along with Dylan Shield. But it gives me great pleasure to welcome our next guest, young Tom Papley, who's absolutely starring. He's up in Sydney. Welcome to the Sunday Footy Show, mate.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
What I thought was funny last night was when Buddy rode that pack perfectly and he was running across 50 and there was only one man between him and the goals and that was you calling for the handball. Did you think he was going to give it to you?
Oh, he lined up for the goal, but I think he seen me late and I was asking for it pretty hard to get a cheapie in the last quarter, but yeah, we'll take it.
Everybody's been asking, what is the turnaround? What is Sydney doing different for when they were 0-6?
Oh, I think in the first 6 rounds, you probably wouldn't say it was Swans footy. I suppose our leadership group and our core group of players weren't playing the roles they needed to play, and we addressed that. And I think that's what we've turned around. We've got 22 contributors now, and we're playing contested ball, hard contested ball, and we've also got the outside uncontested ball right as well. It's going well.
What did that look like, Tom? Was it a full-on team debrief? Did the leaders run it? Was it the skipper Kennedy? Was it the coach? Take us back to after round 6 and what went on.
Yeah, I suppose I think the media, I suppose with the Mills Carlton went after Mills, and I think ever since then we the opposition started going at us. We sort of realised the opposition was going at us in the first 6 rounds, and that was sort of a turning point where they got into one of the younger players, Callum Mills, and then ever since then we've sort of changed our ways, and we sort of go at the opposition now rather than then come at us. And if they come at us, we go back at them harder, and that's how we've changed our ways. I suppose we don't want to back down to any opposition.
Perhaps, BJ, mate, it's fair to say that you're probably not on my Christmas card list this year, but just with your forward pressure...
Why is that? Why?
Yeah. Well, he smothered... I was pretty stiff. I didn't see him for a start.
Oh, when you kicked out, Dopey. What about this? Yes.
Oh,
Great smother, Paps.
Popped out from a blade of grass, I didn't see him. But it's fair to say that you are one of the best forward line pressure players in the competition. Is it, from a personal view, is it something that you've worked on, have always been good at, or has the role been more defined when you joined Sydney?
I suppose I think I was at Gippsland Power and I was sort of a small forward, just I suppose kicking goals, and I didn't really focus on the defensive side. I was more just trying to kick goals and hit the scoreboard, and sort of that defensive pressure started coming when I come to the Swans, and Benny McGlynn was injured in that my first pre-season. I sort of found a window there, I suppose, and a little opportunity, and the coaching staff and the players were saying that you can really make that spot yours if you bring that pressure, and the goals will come from there. And that's what I want to do in my game. That's what I base my game around, is defensive pressure, and everything comes from there.
There's 8 tackles again last night, 3 goals, kicked 19 for the year, so he's had a really good year as Paps. Great story, Paps. You got a rookie listed, didn't you? And you're a plumber. You're making $400 a week. You're a plumber. You're 21, and then you got rookie listed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I was plumbing down in Warragul, just a Gippsland there, and with Dean Moore Plumbing, and yeah, got the rookie call up, and here I am today.
Your grandfather played for the Swans, did he?
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them.
Both grandfathers?
Yeah, Max Papley and Jeff Bray.
Oh,
Mum's dad and dad's dad.
Yeah. Well, I figured that out, yeah. That's very good stock, isn't it?
Great story.
It's in his blood.
Tom, Buddy was great again. I mean, we speak about him often, and you wouldn't do an interview without referencing him, but 4 goals, and when you've got him in your side, you're a very good chance for the flag this year.
Yeah, that's it, I suppose. He kicked the 4 goals for whatever he kicked, but I think the other things that he brought to the side was I think he was flying for marks, crashing packs, and all the things he was doing around the ground. It wasn't just his kicking goals, he was working hard, bringing the ball to ground when he had to, marking the ball when he had to, and kicking the goals when he had to. So he's doing everything last night, and it's exciting to watch when he's up and about.
He's the best man on the ground. Let's have a look at the votes from last night. Franklin, 9. He was clearly the best. Kieran Jack in some good form again. 7. Ward and Shield were the best for GWS. And before we let you go, Tom, normally we speak to our guests during the break, and we really love you now because you had a bit of a go at TJ when he said g'day. We're just going to have another look at that now.
Hello, Tom.
Yeah, is that Choppers?
It's Tony here, Tom. Thank you.
No, Tony,
Good, thanks. Little smart ass.
Tony!
That wasn't supposed to go to air. Sorry to all the little kiddies watching there. Brilliant,
right,
Tom. You got me a beauty, Tom.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Hey, you got all the prizes too, Paps. We love you, mate. You got the Callaway Golf. This is the newest and the best driver in the business, changing the game there, Callaway. Thank you. Uncle Jack watches, the coolest watches available. Head to unclejackwatches.com. Australian-made gift pack, a selection of handcrafted Australian-made gifts created by Convict Bags. Very nice there. Tradie undies, pack of tradie undies, tradie tough. The Man Shake, got a gut? Shake it off with the Man Shake. Bar Fridges Australia, magnificent $300 voucher for a bar fridge. Look at them, they are magnificent. Bar Fridges Australia. Home Timber and Hardware, $100 gift voucher. Go where the tradies go. Chemist Warehouse, a new fragrance, Respect. Magnificent, available from just $39 at Chemist Warehouse. And Aquila Shoes and Clothing, $250 voucher for some shoes and clothing, Paps. Good on you, buddy. Thanks for being on the Sunday Footy Show.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
Good on you, Tom. There he is, Tom Papley. Good fella. Good fella.
You like
good sense of humour. But you know, on the grandfather thing, I don't want to dwell on this. There wouldn't be too many players that have had both grandfathers playing for the one club, would they? From both sides.
No, wouldn't be many.
Yeah, I reckon he would be the only one, I reckon.
No.
Anyway, all right, we'll dwell on that. In the meantime, here's Nathan. Here's Nathan with the Chemist Warehouse injury report.
It's a long list today, TJ, and heading up, that was Sam Gilbert. Finger the other night came off, didn't return, and he's going to miss 3 to 4 weeks. So very, very nasty finger injury there. Stephen May, have a look at this one in a marking contest. Hurts his hamstring right here as he hits the ground. So not a bad one, but he's likely to miss 1 or 2. Jared Lyons rolled his ankle underneath this tackle as he goes down there, so he's likely to miss a few weeks as well. Look at Mitch Hibbert here, dislocated shoulder. Look how easy that is to dislocate his shoulder. He's going to miss 3 to 4, maybe even 5 or 6 weeks of football. Matty De Boer got one in the head. He's going to have concussion, so he will be De Boer. It's French. And Dean Kent, also the shoulder. Look how innocuous this one looks. So Dean Kent probably miss another month of football. So good luck to all the players injured for Chemist Warehouse, who are a brilliant sponsor of ours.
Absolutely they are. And, of course, we are keeping tabs on Patrick Dangerfield. He's going in today, probably to have scans on the foot, leg, whatever it might be. And
He'll be fine.
Oh, you're a doctor as well.
Well, no,
I think he thinks he was faking it.
He does exaggerate injuries.
Oh.
Well, it goes back to...
Hang on. Now we're shooting band.
No, I'm not.
Fake it till you make it.
In his time at Adelaide, his teammates had to sit him down and say, look, you do carry on a little bit with your injuries. And he does. So I'd be surprised if he missed with that injury yesterday.
So we've got Dimmer, Tex.
Just
That's not a big crack. That's just...
Jeez, good on you, Wiggums. And, of course, we'll have in 9 News tonight, right around the country, the latest on Patrick Dangerfield. And you better hope that he is
plays
okay.
this week. Yeah.
Right, we'll take a break. Back with more in just a moment. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. A crowd of more than 70,000 at the MCG yesterday for the showdown between Geelong and Hawthorn. And I tell you what, sort of 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, you would have looked at this and thought, oh, it's not like the old days. But this was your old-fashioned classic showdown, wasn't it?
It was indeed, Tone. Plenty of feeling out there as usual. Hawthorn-Geelong game. Tom Mitchell's good again at 19 in the first quarter, finished with 43. Schoenmakers kicked a nice goal in the last quarter. Paddy Dangerfield, of course, got injured, went forward and kicked 5 goals, 6. Hit the post twice. Could have kicked 7 or 8. He was fantastic. And this man was very, very good too. Mark Blixab, who actually ran with Tommy Mitchell for a while there, went to him after quarter time, it must be said, and kept him to a lazy 27. Blix, welcome, mate. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks very much, fellas. Appreciate it, Bill.
Mate, another classic game when you play Hawthorn. They're always close, they're always tough, they're always hard, mate.
Yeah, look, it was a cracker of a game. They brought the contested ball, and I think it's a really good spectacle. I've been involved with a few of these close ones now, and it doesn't get any easier. It's a lot of fun, but yeah, it was a tough physical game.
Tell us about here. We're just going to show the Luke Hodge goal, of course, the 300 gamer. He kicks one very, very late in the game. I think they were on the right foot, puts this through. It's about 18 seconds to go, and then, of course, we know what happened with Isaac Smith. Tell us about what you're thinking.
Yeah, I was back in the D50, and you just knew Hodgie was going to kick it. He was just going to pop up and have an influence in his 300th, which he's done so often. So he did that, and we tried to put numbers behind the ball, but Hawthorn were just good enough to get the ball and have a shot on goal as well. So fortunately for us, Isaac Smith missed. I feel for him a bit because he's done that a couple of times, and it's a credit to him getting in the right spots, but just wrapped to get the win.
Hey, this might be a silly question, all right, but you just mentioned then about the Hodge 300 factor. Is that mentioned at all in dispatches leading into the game?
We spoke about it. We spoke about it in terms of we knew they were going to come out firing and try and play really contested football and give us a hard time to make it a good day for Hodgie. So we definitely spoke about it a little bit, but we focused on the way we wanted to play and what we thought we could do to win the game. To Hawthorn's credit, they really suffocated us and didn't allow us to play the way we wanted to for a lot of parts of the game, and they were fantastic. But as I said, great to get the win.
Blix, we're going to look at the highlights now. In first quarter, the Hawks were really dominant. 18 inside 50s to 9, and that man we spoke about, Mitchell, had 19 disposals and kick a goal in one of the great quarters of all time.
Yeah, I think he started with 3 touches in the first 10 seconds. So, as you mentioned, I moved to him after quarter time and kept him to a lazy 27 for 3 quarters. But look, him and others, they were fantastic on the day.
How did you talk about him during the week? Because we spoke about the program the week before that opposition sides haven't been paying him that much respect. Scott Selb was named in the side but didn't play. What was the discussion surrounding Tom Mitchell as you previewed the Hawks?
Yeah, it was a bit of a team focus. Scoot was probably going to play a bit of a role on him too. He didn't end up obviously playing the game, so things changed at before the game, and then at quarter time things changed again. So I don't think teams go into games not respecting Tom Mitchell. He racks up the ball and he just knows where to find it. He's a great player, but they just might have different systems to go against the Hawthorn midfield, which is what we did initially. But we thought we needed someone to go to him after quarter time, and look, he still had a massive influence on the game, but we were able to take the win, which we were rapt about.
No, we all saw Dangerfield's injury there, Mark, early on in the game. As a player, did you sense it out there and get a feel for maybe that he was in trouble for the rest of the day? And the way he responded was just outstanding. But it must be a real pleasure to play with someone of his ilk.
Oh, mate, he's a freak. I was right near the hit, and he kicked Ruffy's leg, I think, that hard, and I thought he'd snapped his leg already. So I just played on presuming he wasn't going to be a part of the game at all. And to come out and have the influence he did down forward, he still moved fantastically. He's probably a bit sore today, but it was great. It's great to just be on his team and see it live.
It was indeed. It was great to watch too behind the glass with a couple of frothies. Hey, Cam Guthrie, Blix. Cam Guthrie, hard nut, but gee, caught one in the head yesterday. Have a look at this here. You can't see it here, but look at this. He's got the head down and bang, he was knocked out, wasn't he, Blix?
Yeah, he's a bit sore too. Funny story, during the week he was golfing with his younger brother Zach, and he was on the green and Zach hit the golf ball and split his lip open, hit him straight in the face. So that was on one side, and he's been hit on the other side. So he's got an ugly head on the moment.
Well, he would indeed. Ugly enough anyway. Let's have a look at the votes here, Blix. They couldn't split Dangerfield and Mitchell. They were outstanding. They were the two best players on the ground. Then Joel Stewart, I loved his work ethic, just hard again. And Lockie Henderson's having a really, really good year.
All right, good stuff. Hey, thanks very much for your time this morning, Mark, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Good work, Mark Blixar's joining us there from Cardinia Park. All right. You ready? He's over at the plasma.
I am.
He's back. He's back. Now, he did a great job last week, I've got to say.
Not what I heard.
What did you hear?
I heard he was very, very ordinary. So that's why the Wilbur's back, ratings. And this week we're going
Ratings, Wilbur.
with goal-post moments. Not on a Thursday night,
good.
anyway.
Yeah, Thursday night, yes.
They were very good.
Yeah, we won.
Here we go. Number 6, Andrew Dunkley. Have a look at the point post. That's the skinniest point post I've ever seen. It's all about goal post moments and point post moments. Look at that. That's not a bloody point post. Number 5, Ablett Senior. Have a look at him here. Any chance he can give the handball? Geez, he hits a goal past hard. Have a look at him. And look at the help he gets from his teammate.
Yeah, trim you were there, Bill.
Come on, guys, you're right. But geez, he hit that hard. Could have got a handball. Would have been a nice assist to David. Plastic Cavaliers, we love this one. Percy Jones, big dopey Perce, runs in open goal and kicks the bloody post. Come on, Perce, you idiot. Fair dinkum, Perce, it's not that hard. It's like, how could you miss that? Big Sab, look at Big Sab here. He runs in, I think it's a goal. The goal umpire falls over. And he doesn't know what to do, but he got back up and he gave it a goal. But have a look at him. Fair dinkum, Holy, get up. Number 2, this was unbelievable. Remember out of Waverley, the lights went out. The lights go out. You see Malcolm Blight here in a minute. He's got a lighter up to his face. And then, of course, they spurn the joint. There's a riot. The point post. Have a look. There it is. They take the bloody point post, if you don't mind. And there it is there. That was very good. But there's only one when we talk about goal post, point post. Lee Matthews, the He-Man. He's a He-Man. Cuts it in half. That is unbelievable. I don't know what the background player is called. Fair dinkum. But he is a He-Man lethal. And that is some great goal post moments there, Chomp.
I tell you what, that is some of your finest. That's probably your best. Are you out of breath?
Yeah, I don't know how come I'm out of breath. I don't do a lot. I just stand here and do this. I'm not that fit anymore.
Really?
Oh, get us a coffee, Dale.
All right, we'll take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Do not go anywhere, because after these messages, Kane Corns up against Tex Walker. It's the biggest feud in football since Kane Corns and Damien Hardwick. And Kane Corns and everyone else. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
He's a great character, this man. He's going to load up with a barrel to give him a lift if he nailed this. Oh, he's screwed on! He's nailed it! Is it going to go straight? That is unbelievable! Malcolm Blight, he got out. One of the great barrels we've seen. And Jaden Hunt
Here's Melbourne, a massive lift on the three-quarter time siren.
Yeah, well, we saw it earlier in the show. It's certainly worth looking at again, but unfortunately it wasn't enough, was it? In the end, it was a 46-point win to the Adelaide Crows. They are absolutely flying at the moment. As is this then, the man who booted 4 goals, Tex Walker, who joins us now live from the airport. G'day, Tex.
G'day, boys. How are you?
Yeah, going well, thanks. Look, it's great to have you on board here, although it is with some trepidation for one of our panel members, Tex. I just want to just show our viewers a couple of tweets here that have been going backwards and forwards.
Oh, what's going on?
You tweeted this one a couple of weeks ago. Hey, at Kane Corns, I can't get to sleep. Can you start tweeting, please? And there was a very crisp
we
comeback
like
there.
that. We like that.
Then there was one about Kane's comments regarding Damien Hardwick, and you wrote back, we all think the same, Paul, negative Kane. Now, is this all just a bit of theatre, is it?
A bit of fun. I don't know whether I'm following Kane, am I? I suppose I probably am, but yeah, it's all a bit of fun. But not a big fan of players that come out of the game and don't have a positive spin on the game, because we all love the game of footy.
I think you're angling for a media position yourself at the end of your career, Tex. It'll be reasonably boring if you're all just positive. And is it fair to say that you don't necessarily see the positive things that are said about you and your club, and you just focus on negative things, which all players do when they're playing?
Yeah, I always look at the positive things, pretty glass half full, Cone, so I like to keep it that way.
Well, it was positive last night. A very, very nice win, Tex. You'd be happy with that.
Yeah, it was a great win, obviously, coming up here to Darwin. Melbourne were in great form, so we wanted to come up here. We owed them one from last time we played them, and thought we played a consistent 4-quarter effort.
Yeah, 7 goals, 2 to 1 goal in the first quarter, game over pretty much at quarter time. I want to get your thoughts on Rory Sloane. He had an issue with concussion, didn't want to come off the ground. Tex, the stretcher was out there. It took you to go over there and tell him to get off the ground. How's he pulled up this morning?
Yeah, look, he had his concussion test this morning. He passed that, which is great for Sloane, and obviously it was disappointing to see what sort of state he was in last night. And when I went over there, you could tell that it wasn't Sloane, so I thought it was best that he listened to the doctors and hop off the field. So he'll go through the protocols throughout this week to see whether he passes for Friday night.
Hey, Tex, your form is outstanding at the moment. Your movement was really good. Laterally end up at the footy, 12 score involvements, 4 goals. You would have been happy with your performance last night.
Yeah, look, it was great to come up here. It's a beautiful place, Darwin. We went for a little drive yesterday, and on one side it's really country, and then on the other side it's really tropical. So to come up here and perform, it's a great result, and it'll be a nice flight home.
Yeah, Tex, BJ here, mate. Just wanted to touch on the Crouch brothers. It's Sloane had a quiet night, and then Brad Crouch re-signing last year to a 4-year deal. How important's he been? And I think now everyone's seeing the potential he had and what you saw in him, and now he's fulfilling his potential, really.
Yeah, look, they're still learning their craft, Matt and Brad as well. Obviously, Sloane's going through a bit of a learning phase, playing on a tagger. So once we get all 3 of them up going together, it's going to be pretty scary. But as I said, they're still learning and developing into nice, consistent midfielders.
A couple of weeks ago, Tommy Lynch was in intensive care unit in Adelaide Hospital. Last night he was terrific, 27 disposals, 3 goals. I was surprised he was picked to play, Tex, but credit to your medical staff.
Yeah, the medical staff in pretty much every AFL club now are outstanding, very experienced and knowledgeable. So they looked after Tommy over the past couple of weeks so he could get up and play up here in Darwin.
Going along nicely, Tex in there, top of the ladder. Things are going well over there. What did you think when you saw this last night, by the way, from Clayton Oliver here? We just got the vision here, mate. There's a throw in. We showed it earlier. Oliver's picked it up and kicked it the wrong way. And Douglas has just waltzed in and kicked a goal. Could you believe that?
Yeah. It was a nice inside 50 from Clayton Oliver to go our way, but I think Dougie got caught running too far with that, didn't he?
Bill?
Yeah, he might have actually. I just got to look at him. Shut up, Tex. Don't bring it up. It was a good story till then. How are you going, mate? You feeling all right?
Mate. Sorry, Bill.
Now, Tex, as it stands at the moment...
Yeah, good, Bill.
As it stands at the moment, 1v4, if we were heading into the finals, would be you and Port Adelaide. What a cracking way to start the final series with a showdown.
Yeah, it'd be pretty good if the finals were right now, but we've still got a long way to go. We've got an important game this Friday night against Bill's boys, and we probably own one from last time we played them, so we're looking forward to that.
They've won the last 4 against you, Geelong, and some have said they've worked you out in terms of their game style coming up against you. So, big challenge. Also, Jake Lever, will he be fit to go? He was icing his hammy at the end of the game last night.
Yeah, he had some hamstring awareness at the end in the third quarter, so we put him on ice the last quarter. So he'll obviously go through the process this week, Kane, and it's going to be an exciting game Friday night, our home deck, and we've learned a fair bit playing against Geelong the last couple of times. So we'll prepare and plan as best we can, and we're looking forward to putting on a great display Friday night.
Tex, do you think there's any way you could reconcile the differences with Kane Corns? Because it seems very, very icy. I'd like to get back into that conversation.
I thought you might have brought it back up, Brownie.
Well, look, Mondays.
That's a no. That is a no.
I just, it's such warmth in the studio here at the moment. But Monday does seem to be Kane's feud settling day. It was Damien Hardwick last week. Do you think maybe you can catch up and just have a coffee and just sort of sort your differences out?
No.
Coffee inside a boxing ring or something.
Right, let's get into the votes, and I want Tex to pay attention to this.
Did
Rory
you give him
Laird,
votes?
I gave 8. Taylor Walker, there you go, Tex.
I'll listen.
There's some positivity for you. 8 votes for Tex, and he's been in ripping
Thanks,
form the
mate.
last 2 weeks. Tommy Lynch, remarkable effort coming back in the side, 27, as we said, and 3 goals.
Hibbard.
And also Hibbard was the best Melbourne player.
And Texie, once again, mate, thanks for danger. He's been fantastic.
Jeez, that is miraculous comeback yesterday. I thought his leg was chopped off and then he ended up kicking 5 goals 6.
Yeah, they sewed Scotty Selwood's on at half time. They got rid of his and put it on.
All right, Tex, thanks very much for your time this morning. Thanks for coming on. You're a good sport and
Yeah, well
continued
done.
success for the rest of the season.
Thanks, boys.
Good work, Tex.
Right,
See you,
terrific.
Tex.
There he is, the great man.
I wasn't sure whether he was sort of half taking the mickey when it was half jovial, but clearly there's some issues there, Brownie.
No, I don't think you should read too much friendliness in that.
I think we can work this
Yeah.
boxing ring thing. I think this could be a thing.
This could
at
be
the end of the year.
McGregor-Mayweather
Well,
kind
I'll
of
have to
scenario.
put on
Donations to charity. I'm sure Sportsbet will get behind it.
I'd have to put on a few kilos, Brownie.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah.
What do you think, BJ? Because you're good at these awkward moments.
Funny though, Tex will clearly end up in the media, does a good job in that space. So at some point he's going to have to be critical of players. So in 5 years' time when he retires, let's keep Taylor Walker accountable and make sure there's no negativity coming out of his mouth.
All right, and I'm sure you'll keep him to account. All right, we'll take a break here on the Sunday Footy Show. Still to come, Damo's agenda. Also, we celebrate one of the great moments in the past 25 years of football, and the barrel. I think it might be my turn for the barrel.
Who you got?
If I could remember his name, I'd tell you. Anyway, that's all coming up on the Sunday Footy Show. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Bill's just come up with a good stat about the Giants.
Yes. Do you know they've only won 1 game since round 11? Is that right, Dave? Yeah. 1 game since round 11. That is unbelievable.
Fantastic. All
Well
right,
done,
now
Dave.
let's turn our attention to the Gold Coast last night. It was raining. It was absolutely torrential up there, and Collingwood managed to walk away with the 4 points at last.
Yeah, they just started the game better, Collingwood. 5 goals early, and Gold Coast were always playing catch-up. Peter Wright kicked 3. Ablett was fantastic with 41 disposals as well. But just the cleanness of Collingwood in the conditions was, I think, the major part of the game. When you've got side-bottom, Treloar, De Goey, Pendlebury through the middle of the ground, and then you've got Ablett in the other side who was very, very clean, whereas you've got 4 players for the midfield who just genuinely silky clean through the midfield. There was only going to be one result in this game. Gold Coast fought back. They fought back really well, but they just came up short. They were having to come from too far back. They got the 3/4 time. They looked like a chance in this game, but then Collingwood kicked into another gear, 22 inside 50s to 7 in the last quarter. One area where Collingwood did let themselves down was stoppage work. Gold Coast kicked 8 goals from stoppages last night in this game, and every time it looked like a stoppage, looked like Gary Ablett or Hall or someone was going to take it away, and it was dangerous. Fasolo was really good up forward. He did a really good job. As I said, side bottom was fantastic through the midfield, as was Treloar. Josh Thomas was pretty good coming back into the side. Taylor Adams was clean. Gary Ablett was fantastic. Treloar and Ben Reid, for a big man to kick 3 goals in those conditions, was terrific.
All right. Okay, well, that's Collingwood and Gold Coast out of the way.
Oh, and also the best part of this show is the barrel and who gets the barrel. And normally it's Kane or TJ because they demand the barrel because they want to give that negativity out to the world. Today, it is TJ.
All right. Now, actually, I didn't want to do this because normally if you do the barrel, it's about someone you know. And I must say, this young chap I'd never actually heard of, but his name is Tom Jonas, who plays for Port Adelaide, and he posted this article on the AFL Players Association website. Now, he's actually got a bit of a point here because he was the subject of an interview where the interviewer had not done his homework, didn't know where they were going to play the following week, and he thought his dad was Peter Jonas, who used to play for North Melbourne. Wrong. So he writes, in part, these sort of errors by the experts who cover our game are unfortunately far too common. He goes on to say a certain level of professionalism should be universal. Now, I actually agree with him. I mean, you should do your homework. So I did my homework to find out who Tom Jonas is. Ah, that's who you are, that fella there. So now I've got a far better understanding of who Tom Jonas is. He plays for Port Adelaide. But all I'll say is, Tom, if you're going to have a crack at the media, don't write things like this. I love the theatre and insight into these personalities. Mate, spell it right. Just get your spelling right, mate, if you're going to go and have a crack. So there you go. I know about Tom Jonas, and I dare say he's had, 2 minutes of his 15 minutes.
Whack. That's a big whack. He's having a good year, though.
And he's played 100. He has played 100 games.
Never heard of him.
Played 100
Never
games.
heard of him.
He's played 100 games.
That's a good whack.
It was a good whack. It was a good whack.
Righto, let's get into that game. Tom Jonas was a good part of it, had the job on Ben Brown, but this game was over 12 minutes into the first quarter after Port Adelaide kicked the first 4 goals of the game. Paddy Ryder absolutely took it to Todd Goldstein. That's not the game we're looking at, that's the Adelaide game. We will get the Port Adelaide highlights up very shortly, but Goldstein, Goldstein did not touch the footy in the second half.
What's going on there?
0 disposals.
What
in
is
a half
going
of
on
footy.
with him?
I'm not sure, but he's clearly not at the best. We know he was the star of the game, but Ryder took it to him there. Thought Wingard was terrific with 3 goals. Here's the votes. Brad Ebert had 14 clearances. That's a career high. Chad Wingard had 30.
He's been good in the midfield, Wingard, hasn't he?
Very good. Ollie Wines was terrific in his 100th game, and Ben Cunnington was North Melbourne, the one player who could put his head on the pillow and say, "I had a crack."
Ryder's been outstanding. He's nearly #1 ruckman.
Yep.
In the comp.
I've seen enough now to say that I think he's
all Australian.
Nah, Matty Cruiser.
Cruiser's been very good, but no, Ryder's been sensational.
He's going. Belchambers is going well the last 6 weeks since he came back in.
Going very well. And we're going to an ad break. Stay with us. Damo's up a little later on with his Sunday agenda. I'll tell you what, when it comes to Sunday agendas, this one is pretty big. I think he saved it for you, BJ. Do you know what it is?
No.
Oh, OK. Thanks, Tom Jonas. All right, we'll take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. I just want to tell you a little something first. Are you a tradie? Are you a tradie, or do you know a tradie who loves their trade? Maybe you sleep on a bed of nails. Maybe you can tell your timber just by smelling it. Maybe you shave with sandpaper. Well, our mates at Home Timber and Hardware are searching for the Home Timber and Hardware Tradie of the Year. So tell us and show us how you love your trade, and you could win a top-of-the-range Holden, Colorado. Entering's pretty easy, even for you, Nate. homehardware.com.au. Go where the tradies go. Yeah. Home Timber and Hardware. I'm going to be swinging by straight after the show to pick up a new drill. That's right.
So am I.
Hey, what are you going to do with it?
Drill.
Well, Damo's been drilling very deep into the world of football, and what do you come up with?
TJ, we can tell you that the sporting tug of war, the cricket versus footy tug of war for the services of young gun Will Sutherland has been resolved, and that cricket is the winner. This is the young guy who played in the National Championships. Brownie, you would know, being the Future Stars man that you are. Only as recently as 2 weeks ago, last week, and has told football people today and cricket people today that cricket will be the sport that he chooses to pursue in the next few seasons. So it's a bit of a shock. Terry Wallace, I think, on your show, Brownie, will be analysing this year's upcoming draft, and I know he rated him very, very highly.
Rated him in the top 10, so he's going to be a potential top 10, even potential top 5 pick. Only played school footy this year, no TAC Cup, but was good enough to make it to the championships as well and playing that. And he's got a bit about him, Bill. He's very happy and he talks it up too.
Yeah, he does talk it up.
I'll tell you what, I bet his father, James Sutherland, gets the pay dispute settled now.
Yeah, well, that's another backdrop to the whole story, isn't it? The father of. And
on Future Stars today.
We've had that confirmed to us today by cricket people and football people that it is indeed, and probably an announcement this afternoon that he will be going down the cricket path. Gil McLachlan, TJ, is overseas or heading overseas as we speak. It comes on the back of a really long and testing and trying week for him and the AFL over these dismissals of 2 executives. He was defiant, though, that he needed the holiday.
People have different views. I'm going to go and, I think, take a break for a week. I'd planned it. There's people at the other end have made commitments around me. I've got a family as well. I think I want a week to make sure that I'm fresh and able to do the best job I can in the back half of the year.
Do you think you'll get some criticism?
I don't care, Damien.
No, you don't. But
honestly.
do you think you'll get the criticism?
Well, it's up to you. I don't know. I don't care. Some will. Others will understand.
He clearly needs a break. He looked distressed and stressed yesterday when he spoke to us on Triple M. And people around him, TJ, at the AFL have said that he does need to take the break, and he should. But I've just got a view, and that is on the back of this tumultuous two-week period where 3 senior executives have had to leave the organisation, that now is probably, and it's just my opinion only, not the right time for him to be.
Well, what's he going to be doing
so.
if he does stay?
I just think as leader of the organisation, and this is as tumultuous as it has been for some time
right.
at the AFL. Doesn't have a footy boss. Doesn't have a footy boss. Doesn't have a diversity boss. Doesn't have a corporate affairs boss.
Yes, but he's
or
got
commercial affairs boss.
But he's got the structure in place whereby people can go and slot into those roles.
Well, I would say they're under as much stress and distress as any stage of the recent times, and he's going overseas. He's got the right to have a holiday. It's my opinion, TJ, and I think he should have stayed at home.
All right, Damo, thanks very much for that. Let's move on now. St Kilda and Essendon on Friday night. Take us through the scores here, BJ.
Well, we started off pretty well. So St Kilda coming off a great win last week, and their last month of footy has been outstanding. So we knew coming into the game we were going to be up against it. But it was really important that we started well. As you see, Joey Danaher putting Jakey Carl on a poster, and outstanding night Joey had. But it's really pleasing just to see Joey find real consistency in his footy. So his goal kicking got criticised for that heavily early in the year, and done a lot of work on it. But we're seeing his fruits of his labour and his work that he's been doing on that.
Really good win, BJ. Now you've won 2 in a row. Can you win 4 in a row? Can you put a few games together?
Well, that's what we hope. I think we've struggled with that, to find consistency early on the season and up to this point in the season. So it's important going into the finals, I think, if we were to make finals, that we're able to string 4 or 5 good, consistent performances together. We mightn't get the results we're after, because you can lose and actually go forward as a footy club and improve. So we're hoping to, like we do all weeks, but we're hoping now we can string together 4 or 5 solid performances.
Tell you what, Kano, you wouldn't want to play him in a final at the G or at Etihad.
Not on that ground. They move the ball as fast as any side, Bill, and I love the way they take it through the corridor and score goals like that. They can score very quickly.
Been unbelievable.
There's the votes there. Zach Merritt, Joe Danaher, Hurley. Tom Bell-Chambers has been outstanding.
No BJ.
No BJ. Joby rested. Was that just a planned rest, was it?
Planned. So it was actually planned last week, but I had it this week.
OK, you've been looking at the updated leaders board there for the Lou Richards medal. This is what they're playing for.
Cats.
This year's Lou Richards medal is brought to you by the Isuzu D-Max. The winning player will receive $20,000 cash and nominate the junior club of their choice to receive a brand new Isuzu D-Max. Go your own way.
All right, we'll take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Up next, we celebrate one of the finest moments of the game from the past 25 years. Stay with us.
The Cats already had one hand on the flag when they ran out as hot favourites in the 2008 AFL Grand Final. But a group of upstart Hawks had other ideas. Geelong dominated the second quarter but failed to capitalise, missing a couple of certain goals that could have all but ended the Hawks' challenge. And he misses. An inspiring effort from a young teenager called Cyril early in the third quarter set the Hawks alight.
Rioli thought about going back. Now he's got the crowd. Franklin didn't take the mark, but all's well. The ends well.
Soon after, an unlikely bulky hero emerged. Stewie Drew quickly wrote himself into grand final day folklore with 3 massive game-changing moments. The best 5 minutes of his footy life. A battered and bruised Luke Hodge would not let the Cats come back, and the Hawks sent off 300-game hero and club legend Shane Crawford in style. It was the first of 2 Norm Smith medals for one of the game's greatest warriors.
Wow, hard to believe that was nearly 10 years ago, and you look around there, and of course it was Croft's last game. Stewie Jew, how many did he kick that day?
Oh, he kicked 3 in that third quarter, the bulky one.
Yeah.
So he did very, very well, turned the game. That was a very disappointing day for Cats fans because they thought they'd going to win that, and the Hawks come out and went whackety-whack.
Gee, they must have celebrated long and hard. What happened the year after?
Similar to what's happened to the Bulldogs this year.
Premiership hangover?
Yeah, well, maybe. Do they exist, do they?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm yet to experience one. I haven't been in that position. Maybe
they do.
Mind you, the Western Bulldogs aren't out of it yet.
Not yet.
You've called it, have you?
Well, I don't think they're going to win it, are they? They'll be lucky to make the 8 this year.
Yeah, well, that's what we said about the Sydney Swans up until about 9 weeks ago as well. All right, don't forget Footy Classified on tomorrow night at the time of 9:55. Caro's back, the team's back. It's a good show. Make sure you're watching. And also, the Thursday night footy show back to its rightful place, 8:30 on a Thursday night, and number one, if you don't mind. Billy, you'll be there?
Yes, maybe not. They might say have a spell this week.
Well, it worked last week. So.
Ratings, yeah.
Okay, all right. So that's 8:30 on Thursday night. Nath, what do you got for us over at the Plasma?
TJ, punters love our 24-up promo. We've given $3.8 million back to punters who have backed the wrong side and ended up losing. $3.8 million.
Fantastic.
That means their side got up 24 points, then went on to lose the game. Now, there's some really good games on today. And the first one, not a great game. The Tigers should win this one comfortably. 95% of the money we have is on the Tigers in this game. Dustin Martin for the Brownlow, Dangerfield. Would have got votes last night, so Dangerfield tonight. Now, next one is most of the money in this game, can you believe it, has been Carlton. You wouldn't have thought this at the start of the year, but the Dogs are battling at the moment. The line's about 12.5. A lot of punters thinking the Blues will get inside that line of 12.5. And the other game on today is the Derby. $3.50. Fremantle represent really good value there. West Coast aren't playing well. Kennedy is back. Ross Glendinning middle. If you have a look at the Ross Glendinning middle, he scored 13 goals in his last 2 derbies. So Josh Kennedy, he'll be back fresh today. And a mega bet. Curnow and Silvani, both to kick 2 goals. They've been flying recently, the Blues, as have these 2 young stars. $7 if they can both kick 2 goals. Not bad. Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, gamble responsibly. I did it again. Were you on yesterday?
Oh, we were certainly well on, Bill. I did it again yesterday. Caulfield, race 2, number 7, TJ.
How come we never hear about the ones
Half
you lose?
of Melbourne was on it.
Never hear about the ones you lose.
We don't lose, me and Bill.
Yes.
You know about that. All right, that wraps it up for this edition of the Sunday Footy Show. How'd he go, Kane? I reckon he was all right.
Oh, he's good, Beach.
Welcome back
pretzels.
anytime.
Where are the pretzels?
Welcome back anytime.
On the
At the
floor,
expense of
Bill.
who?
Florida.
Oh, hey, there you go. All right, we'll see you next Sunday right here on the Sunday Footy Show. Enjoy the rest of your day.